Today we begin a series that will take us to the next 3 weeks. Our focus is on the rising cases of sexual abuse. The Lagos State High Court in Ikeja has a special offences courthouse christened the Roslyn or Motosho Courthouse. It houses a number of courtrooms manned by judges of the state. That is not strange. However, what is noteworthy or even striking is that a visit to any of those courts during their sittings will reveal something peculiar. On a good day, the court hears between 15 and 25 cases of sexual abuse. These cases are at various stages, ranging from arraignment to trial, final addresses, and judgment. Then there are the cases where the defendants opt for the increasingly popular plea and sentencing bargain agreements. By the way, plea bargain entails an arrangement where the defendant accepts to plead guilty and in turn receives a discounted sentence. It's getting more commonplace in our criminal law practice. So back to our main topic. From the clear observation of these court sittings, there is a rise in the incidence of sexual abuse in our society. More and more men are involved in sexual offenses. Looking back to our time in school, law school I mean, the main aspect of sexual offense we dealt with was rape, an offense which is complete upon the penetration of the vagina. Of course, anything before penetration could amount to attempt. And if there is violence, then the charge of assault also applies. The main statutory provision for rape is Section 357 of the Criminal Code Act. The section provides thus, quote, any person who has unlawful carnal knowledge of a woman or girl without her consent, or with her consent, if the consent is obtained by force or by means of threats or intimidation of any kind, or by fear of harm, or by means of false and fraudulent representation as to the nature of the act, or in the case of a married woman, by personating her husband, is guilty of an offense which is called rape. End of quote. And the sentence upon conviction is life imprisonment. Section 358 provides, quote, any person who commits the offense of rape is liable to imprisonment for life, with or without caning, end of quote. Even though the offense of rape had always carried the punishment of life imprisonment. On the one hand, enforcement was weak, and on the other hand, other aspects of abuse were not well defined and captured under the Act. For example, indecent assault on a female, a crime which could entail fondling, oral sex, and what have you, is classified as a misdemeanor. Section 360 provides, quote, any person who unlawfully and indecently assaults a woman or girl is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to imprisonment for 2 years, end of quote. A magistrate court could try the offense. This had been the order until pressure groups and organizations began to advocate for more focus on the offense of sexual abuse against females. These groups sensitized victims and their families on the need to speak up and damn the societal stigma which until then and even now prevents many sexual assault victims from speaking up. These groups also went further to cause legislative amendments to expand the aspects of sexual abuse beyond the traditional rape and penetration. These campaigns have begun to pay off, as many states have amended and created laws to expand what sexual abuse entails. Indecent assault, sexual molestation, and abuse have taken a whole new meaning. The court with jurisdiction is no longer the magistrate court, but the high court. So today, a sexual offense is no longer just rape, attempted rape, or indecent assault. There is a whole new range of offenses with heavier punishments upon conviction. Now you can understand why a normal day in the courthouse I earlier mentioned reveals to you something like an epidemic in this aspect of crime. There are so many people who still think that sexual offenses entail only rape, and therein lies the danger. And even more importantly, the need to have knowledge of the current realities. When you now add this new regime to the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, VAP, you will begin to see that the news is certainly tightening around the neck of randy men. In the second part of this series, we will see the array of acts that are considered sexual offenses and the punishments thereat. Our socials as Arifat Aid are available and you can follow us. Also like, comment and share. My name is Ben Abraham and this is Criminal Justice Focus. Thank you.